I'm Jesse Fruworth. I'm a reporter at Salt Lake City Weekly. We're here at the 2010 Republican Utah State Party Convention. We are looking in particular at the Utah Log Cabin Republicans, where you can see from the other side, from the Democrats here, hope not hate. There's a lot of portrayal that on the conservative side, there's no support for gay issues. So we're going to find out if that's true. Come on. All right, I'm joined by Mel Neimer. He's the president of Utah Log Cabin Republicans. Mel, what is your goal for this convention and this election year for Log Cabin Republicans in particular?
Probably the most important thing is to just make our presence known, let people know we are here and that we are Republicans and that we are part of the party.
I think while I often disagree with them on specific issues that are very important to them, the fact that they're willing to still be here and still be part of the Republican Party shows how committed they are to smaller government, lower taxes, more personal freedom.
I have great respect for the talents and abilities of the homosexuals that I have worked with in the past in New York City. I owned a company there, and about half of my employees were homosexual because of their abilities and their talents. They were the best at what they did.
How important is that to your campaign, to be able to say, I have a Republican gay organization that endorses me?
Well, I think it's really important because the whole thing is I'm a representative. And the thing is, when you're in a district like we are in, which is very diverse, we're all the way from the university all the way up to the Park City up at Highway 40. That's an incredible mix of people.
Now, there are children that are living in gay couples right now, but they don't have the legal protections of adoption. That's sometimes called two-parent adoption. If the child is already living with gay parents, would you then support legal protections to allow that second parent to adopt that child to sort of formalize the family unit?
When you're in a position of an elected official, you've been elected, you have to do what is right under the law and what is best for children in society. And I must say that the best environment is for a child to be with a mother and a father.
Just because I believe that the family unit is very sacred. I believe that a nuclear family is an important societal stabilizer.
I have been very outspoken, as you probably know, in supporting traditional marriage.
There are many issues that really should come down to, as far as like visitation is concerned, property transfer and that kind of thing. And I understand.
You support all of those things?
Absolutely.
What about gay adoption?
You know, I need to look at that further.
On the non-discrimination, I think we have to, it's kind of a slippery slope. As long as it is done in a manner where, first off, somebody shouldn't be coming and saying, oh, by the way, when they're applying for a job, I shouldn't know what your gender identity is. That's none of my business.
But what if you can tell? I talk a little bit effeminate.
Do you know what? I would never assume that someone is homosexual.
Would you support repealing protections based on, say, religion or race, so that people could be fired based on those bases?
Do you know, right now, I don't think people can be fired based on their gender identity. I do believe those protections are in place. I think if somebody were actually...
Well, I think they are to be fair, I think they are in Salt Lake City, Park City, but that's it, in Utah at least.
Well, but even without a legal protection, if somebody got fired for being gay, do you really think that wouldn't be in the paper? Do you really think that would not absolutely end that business?
How do you feel about the long trajectory of Utah Log Cabin Republicans and the success that's coming now in 2010?
Well, I think most of our success just happened the last 3 or 4 years, basically because new people coming into office are much more accepting and willing to understand and talk to us.
James, it's interesting to hear him speak. He's not entirely in support of all of your issues, and yet you're still very friendly with him. Tell me, how does that work?
Very easily. The reality is, as Ronald Reagan put it, I put it all a dozen times, I'd rather work with someone I get along with 80% of the time than someone I get along with 20% of the time. And almost identically to the way I felt about the governor and the way that Log Cabin in general feels about this race, it's rare that you find politicians, as opposed to statesmen these days, who are willing to discuss issues that are uncomfortable.
How much of a priority are gay issues to Utah Log Cabin Republicans? Are they allowed to be put on the back burner, or must they be dealt with urgently?
Both.
How can it be both?
Well, for example, the marriage equality issue. I get a lot of flack in the GLBT community on the marriage equality issue because in Utah it's been put to bed. The issue doesn't exist. It'd be nice. It's the golden ticket, as I've described it. If you get that, you get all the other rights, all the other problems go away, which is wonderful. But there's not a likelihood that right now the Supreme Court is going to overturn it, and there's not a likelihood right now that we're going to overturn Amendment 3. There are other issues that affect our community that Dan and I can work on that are urgently needed.
Do I feel like they're making headway? Are they becoming more visible? And the answer is absolutely yes. And it's exactly because of this. It's because instead of going out and bringing up adversarial things where we're going to be fighting and butting heads, the focus of the Log Cabin Republicans has been dialogue.
All right, we've just left the convention where we're told that there's at least 6 Republican candidates for the legislature that are at least as gay-friendly as Lieutenant Governor Greg Bell, who as a senator ran a number of bills in support of gay rights. People are telling us that's in large part due to first-time delegates, a lot of youthful delegates who people say are changing the Republican Party. The real power, however, is in the ballot box. That won't be until November, and so it remains to be seen whether this is just hope or whether it will mean real change for gays within the Republican Party and gays, lesbians, transgender, bisexual people in Utah. For City Weekly, I'm Jesse Frewer. Thank